Hello, everyone. Welcome to Give Me a Break Formula One edition. This is Money.
And I'm Rob.
And today we want a break from Ferrari Strategists. We'll be reviewing the Australian Grand Prix 2026 that happened this weekend. As we get started, I just want to say, watching a champion like Max Verstappen spin out and hit the wall in Q1 of qualifying, and then watching Oscar Piastri, championship contender from last year, spin out and hit the wall before the race has even started, before the formation lap on race day, is embarrassing. It's not what we want to see. We don't want to see the absolute most elite race car drivers of our sport spin out and hit the wall as if they don't know how to drive a car. And okay, it's race one of year one of the new regulations. And so the headlines are, everyone just needs to get used to the new cars. That's what we should have testing for. So I have a gripe with Bahrain testing. Basically, in my ideal world, Bahrain testing, everybody gets to be on the grid, do qualifying and race as you would during race weekend, but it's test. That's what for me is testing. And fair enough, like testing at the moment, how Bahrain is set up is effective to test out how the car is coming together. It's effective for collecting data and on the engineering side, see how things are performing, but it's not effective for the car and the driver to assimilate. The driver is the one driving the product. It feels like a product testing environment rather than an actual team testing environment, because half the component of the entire thing is the driver being able to drive the car. By the time the first Grand Prix comes around, if the driver actually hasn't been in a racing environment in the car, then we see crash outs like we did with Max and Oscar. And also we've got people paying considerable amount of money to go to the Grand Prix.
Yes.
Australia should not be treated as an extension of testing from Bahrain. It's the start of the season. We should be able to have our teams fully prepared, ready to race.
I'll say on that though, is with testing, it's more of a data collection for the teams in semi-race conditions. So you've got longer stints, like 20, 30 laps in one go. You basically, teams are getting data collection on their power units, on their, how the design of the car is, everything like that. Different conditions in Bahrain, you've got high winds, different temperature changes. So I can understand from a team's point of view, and they don't obviously want to show their hand, or in Aston Martin's case, which I'm representing sadly today with the hat, but in their case, they're nowhere and they have no hand to show at the moment. So, but yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from in the point of the paying customer. You travel all the way to Melbourne. You kind of want to see a competitive race. You want to see the best of the best, and for the amount that Ticketmaster charge, I know because last year I wanted to go, but I couldn't get any tickets. Yeah, dynamic pricing
Exactly.
is a fail for me.
Rob was in Australia last year during race weekend and wasn't able to go because you just couldn't secure tickets. And
No.
you were on that for a long time.
There was a huge debacle on the dynamic pricing, and the website crashed like 3 times. Third time unlucky because I didn't get any tickets. And yeah, it was just already got the tickets, the flights booked and everything. So I ended up just having a holiday in Australia last year.
Yeah. And we got to hang out.
Yes, we did. That was fun. Sydney. What I will say though, race weekend last year in Melbourne was horrific because the weather, it was raining, everything. I was on the Sunshine Coast and it was beautiful sunshine.
So yeah, watching Oscar spin and crash out and not even able to race was just disappointing, to say the least. Just imagine how he feels.
Obviously, for an Australian fan, you have one driver. He's on the grid and then he's not able to start. Like, is it soul destroying for you? Because I mean, for example, British drivers, we've got 4 or 5 of them. So if one driver goes off, if Lando Norris, world champion, goes off, well, we've got Lewis Hamilton. Well, we've got Ollie Behrman, Arvin Lindblad. So it's not as soul destroying. Whereas I feel like from an Aussie point of view,
rubbing it in, Rob.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously a lot of people who were at the Grand Prix would have gone to support Oscar. Absolutely. And it is very, very disappointing. It's not what you want to see. Personally, for me, when it's an individual sport like tennis, and technically Formula One is a team sport, but you're just like, you're individually racing your cars. Patriotism makes less of an influence when I'm watching individual sports. Like, it's more of a thing when it's team sports.
Sure.
Because usually if you're playing as a team, you're representing the country. If it's an international tournament, in individual sport, I would still say, for me, it's more about personalities and who you're personally backing. Like, I think Oscar's great. I was backing him last year to win. But if somehow Hamilton managed to, with Ferrari, miraculously get to the top of the leaderboard, I would be backing him, because he's my guy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, drivers basically represent their teams, and the teams don't exactly represent the country. However, just like in the tennis, I always follow the Brits. Saying that, though, my driver is Fernando Alonso, so got his hat here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When did you get that?
A couple of years ago, I think it was. I've had many hats of Fernando, Ferrari, McLaren. I think I've been the McLaren one, actually, because they were so bad. 2016, I think that was. So, yeah. But I can see your point.
If Mercedes was playing Alex de Minaur, Alex is obviously, he's very popular in Australia. We love to back him. He's such a likable character. But if he's playing Mercedes, I'm backing Mercedes. You know? So what were your key takeaways from the Australian Grand Prix?
So, I mean, the start, wow. What a chaotic start that was. In fact, before we even do that, right on the start, something that wasn't even shown on the broadcast, which will be our little check this out moment of the race weekend. So Franco Colapinto made an absolutely sublime, lightning quick reaction to avoid a crash with Liam Lawson, who was very slow getting off the start. So if you can source the highlights from the F1 page, they have put it up. Have a look at that. He swerved into the wall, but didn't actually go into the wall, avoided Liam Lawson, and just carried on. It was phenomenal.
The start of the race was manic. It was crazy.
Total chaos. Ferraris were gaining places. I mean, Hadjar gained places. Antonelli lost a bunch of places. Arvin Lindblad, rookie, stormed up as well. Yeah,
I thought Antonelli losing a bunch of places, but then gaining it all back and then ended up on the podium as number 2. I thought that was very impressive from Antonelli.
Great drive, but also shows the power of Mercedes this season. Yeah. So, yeah, the first few laps were probably up until like lap 10, really. I think it was 9 or 10. And Russell and Leclerc, they were just playing chess, basically.
Yeah, I think it was lap 8. It was so fun to watch. I don't know how many times they actually overtook each other. So this is the benefit of DRS now being out of the equation.
Yes.
It looks more like car racing, basically. So not having to wait to be in like DRS location and being in the exact position. Obviously what we're expecting is there's going to be a lot more overtaking, a lot of like race battles like that throughout the season.
Yeah, I will add as well, there's a boost element now instead of DRS. So the boost element is a battery of extra power, and it will recharge throughout the lap, so you can choose when to use it. So obviously some drivers are using it on, say, the pit straight, and then they won't have enough to defend further down in the other corners. So yeah, it's a chess match. And that is essentially going to make things interesting this season, I think.
Yeah. So Leclerc and Russell were battling it out, and then Hamilton pulled up right behind them and joined in. I was hoping he would be able to speed past while they just are still at it. But then ultimately Russell got ahead. But coming back to the theme of today, give me a break from Ferrari strategists.
So we'll set the scene a little
lap
bit.
Was it?
It was Isaac Hadjar, his power unit had gone, so he had to retire, which brought the virtual safety car. And yeah, that was lap 12. So a bunch of drivers came in. Mercedes came in and they did pretty much a perfect double stop. So they double stacked, but no time lost, which is great from the Mercedes pit team. Yeah, perfect. That was lap 13. And by the time lap 14, I guess, comes around, the virtual safety car has already come in. Lewis is basically on team radio and he's saying one of us should have came in. Basically, it's a mistake. Our strategist, or his race engineer, was basically saying, plan A. And to me, I'm thinking Lewis is thinking in his helmet. It's like plan A, like, is this the same as last season? With the Ferrari strategy.
Yeah, that meme from last season where Hamilton's saying to his engineer in the team radio, he's like, are we going with plan A or plan B? And they're like, B. He's like, okay, B, C. And he's like, oh, plan C? They're like, no, plan B. He's like, plan B? He's like, C. And he's like, is it plan B or is it plan C? I don't understand. And then turns out the C is actually C in Italian, like, yes. The meme was so legit that I believed it. I was like, for sure this has happened, because the way they're interacting at the moment, they're completely like, it's been a learning curve with Hamilton and the Ferrari team to just be able to get on the same page with a lot of things. But Ferrari strategy failing Leclerc as well is just a running theme for seasons upon seasons at this point.
They just make really incompetent moves.
It's either something about the car that is not quite right, or when the car's right, the strategy's not right, but it's not coming together for Ferrari. It seems like this season, the car, it's performing really good. It's doing really great lap times. They've got a chance this season for the constructors.
If they get their strategies right.
If they get the strategy right, which, their strategy is going to fail them. I don't
even
think that's a bold prediction.
In my opinion, that is what will separate Mercedes and Ferrari. But they are, at the moment, they are the top two teams. And you can see it's clear as day to see it.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how McLaren is just, at the moment, it's just the first race, but they're not showing up as title contenders. It just seems like they've got a lot of work to do still on their car to get the speed that they need. But Ferrari is right there neck to neck with Mercedes at the moment. It's going to be the strategy that lets them down. And I want better for Leclerc and I want better for Hamilton.
It's something we'll touch on at the end, if we want a break from Ferrari strategists or not. Yeah. So the next sort of notable thing that happened was the next time the safety car came out, which was Bottas. So Bottas ended up retiring his car at the pit lane entry on the little grass verge bit. Immediately, I'm thinking they can't, for safety reasons, they can't actually allow cars to go into the pit, because you've got a stationary car really near the entrance. 5 cars ended up going through, and then they closed the pit lane. So really don't know what's happening with the calls from the stewards there. But yeah, again, Ferrari didn't have a chance to pit, so they're still on their.
How do you feel about Cadillac on the grid now and us having 11 teams?
It makes it more interesting because you've got more of a chance to have a car crash out, more safety car.
So for me, it's literally the same reasoning, but the opposite perspective. Right. Because there's more midfield teams now who effectively aren't really competitive when it comes to winning races. And so it just feels like you're growing filler teams and just creating more opportunities for crashes and therefore more safety cars and races stopping and restarting. I would rather just watch a really, really clean, straightforward race where based on merit, racing each other and then winning. Because we've all got PTSD from 2021 Abu Dhabi. And so the more midfield and below cars there are, these teams, they're not going to be winning. They're hardly going to be able to sustain themselves. They come in with a lot of potential, but I want to see more competitive teams on the grid. I could have done without Cadillac joining, if this is what it's going to be like, if they're going to be smack at the bottom of the grid, we'll see how. Yeah, welcome to the chaos. We'll see how they perform.
Yeah, I think that's the big question of whether or not it'll be successful or not to have that 11 team. But we can only find out with time.
We'll find out. Aston Martin, what is going on? They've got all the ingredients for that team to be good.
Adrian Newey.
What is Adrian Newey? When is he going to start
Alonso,
delivering?
We're team principal now, isn't he?
So Fernando keep those drivers motivated.
He's not getting younger.
Alonso's not getting any younger. Yeah. And I've now done the full circle on Lance Stroll. Obviously, he got slated a lot when he first joined because of nepotism. But ultimately, I'm like, the guy just wants to be a race car driver. The only way to really make it in Formula One is if you come with some kind of backing. Even those who hustled, that the reason why that they're extraordinary stories is because they made it in the most odd circumstances. But the majority of stories at the end of the day is just the reality of the situation. Like, we're watching Formula One. It's an elite sport. It's an expensive sport. Most of the people on the grid have come from really good financial backing and support. So yeah, his dad bought the team and he's got a seat. He's got a permanent seat in the team.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the guy doesn't have ambition. Doesn't mean the guy doesn't have some kind of talent. I actually feel for him because he has everything available to him in terms of resources, but it's not coming together. And so I want better for Alonso and I want better for Stroll.
I mean,
and so Adrian
absolutely.
Newey better start delivering. He better start delivering.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously want the best for my boy Fernando, but with Lance, I feel like he had potential and he had desire at the beginning of his career. I feel like it's just gone from him. So with Aston Martin, Alonso basically quietly retired in the race. I noticed around about sort of lap 20 and it was just like, Fernando's out. When did this happen? Fast forward a few laps later, he's actually come back out and started driving again. It was like on the graphic plus 2 laps. And then Alonso retires again, probably about 15, 20 laps later. Lance Stroll comes in the pits as well, then comes back out and finishes the race, I believe. The graphic was like plus 12 laps. That was basically Aston Martin's race in a nutshell, really.
So George Russell, he's looking like the contender for this year.
Main guy.
The main guy.
Yeah, I reckon he's got a good chance of the Drivers' Championship. With Kimi being second year, there's probably going to be moments throughout the season where he's not going to have the composure that George will. I mean, he's got how many years? 6, 7 years, maybe more experience. So yeah, I'm back in George. I like George.
I like George.
He has his haters. Not from here.
No, I like George. He's very cringe, but he owns it. You know? So it's not like he's trying to be cool, but it's actually cringe. He's trying to be cringe, and so it's actually cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He just owns it. Just like when he won the race and he did that Borat accent.
Oh yes.
For the team radio.
Very nice. I like this car. I like this engine. Yeah, I did that.
And then did you see how he also did that? He had his arms out like the airplane.
The T-pose? That was on the F1 intro. That was the T-pose on the F1
intro, right? So he became a meme for doing that because everyone was like, he's so extra.
I mean, that T-pose,
the
first time that T-pose came out, it was natural. I think there was it was a small wall. So he like a narrow sort of corridor wall. So he just did a T-pose.
He was touching the walls.
Yeah. But then the second time that happened, it was forced doing the T-pose because...
Then you know he's posing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he will...
Yeah, I like a bit of George.
He will do well this season. So yeah, in this race though, it was around lap 28. He overtook Hamilton, who went into the pits, and then Leclerc also came in the pits on lap 25. So Russell's race leader after 28 laps and everyone's on hard tyres, but George is on considerably older hard tyres compared to the Ferraris. So also at this point, George is basically saying he thinks one stop is viable. Tyres feel good. He's quite a good driver for tyre management anyway. So yeah, that was really good race.
You know what else will be interesting to see with Mercedes, because the car is performing so well. Mercedes this year is kind of where McLaren were last year in a lot of ways. But we can say they've got that clear driver 1, driver 2 with Russell and Antonelli. We know that in Toto Wolff's heart, though, his favorite is Kimi.
Yeah.
Like, he handpicked Kimi Antonelli. He's nurturing him. He really believes Kimi is the next Verstappen. And so what I'm interested to see whether it's a reverse of the papaya rules.
Gosh, yeah.
For Mercedes this year, because last year Zach would wear it on his chest and he's like, I'm not picking, they're both going to race it out and whoever wins wins. And so there's no driver 1, driver 2. They're both going to compete. So Zach, like throughout the whole time, kept the same narrative, whether in his heart he had an edge for Lando.
We all know.
We all thought he did. But at the end of the day, his story stayed the same. He kept the papaya rules
That was
alive.
the hill he was dying on and did.
That was the hill he would and still would die on. But with Toto Wolff this year, I'll be really interested to see when Kimi is just behind Russell. He's giving almost the same speed. Even in this race, he was only like 3 seconds or less. He finished 3 seconds or less behind Russell, right? So he's right there. And so will Toto actually then mid-season introduce papaya rules, but Mercedes version, and be like, there's no driver 1, driver 2, race it out, guys. Because in his heart, he's like, actually, Kimi could edge through. That's probably going to be a storyline that I would love to watch. Like how will Toto handle the Russell and Kimi Antonelli kind
Dynamic,
of being neck to neck?
I actually think George is gonna run away with it a little bit.
Do you think so?
Into team, sure. I don't think Kimi's gonna be challenging. I think it will be Russell and the 2 Ferrari drivers. So, but that's my prediction, I guess.
That's your prediction. I think Russell's leading. He's going to lead, but I don't think he's going to run away with it. I think that Leclerc's going to give him a real hard time. I think that Antonelli will actually show more composure than people expect because he's already disproving the inexperience point. He skipped stages to get into Formula One early.
Yeah.
And he got a podium in his first season. He's got what it takes. So I think that George Russell will have its moments because he plays it so cool. George Russell is like an amazing politician. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs for Prime Minister one day. But I think that at one point, just like Piastri from last year, where he lost it, like late stage of the season, where,
head loss.
Mentally it got to him.
Yep.
I think George Russell will have a moment where he's just like, why isn't Toto Wolff backing me as the number 1 driver like he should be, like he did Hamilton for years and years and years? Like, why isn't he doing that with me? And we'll see.
He's not the golden child. So, yeah.
He's not the golden child. He never was for Toto.
No.
Whereas Antonelli is.
I still think George is going to
run away with it.
Run away with it. I'm still going with it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see in this.
Thinking about this, Lewis Hamilton is like Federer from tennis.
Absolutely.
And Max Verstappen is like Djokovic.
Yes.
100%.
I
was thinking about this. When we talk about obviously dominant and iconic and transcends the sport, that's Hamilton and Federer are akin in a way. And then the precision and dedication of Verstappen and Djokovic is in parallel. Overall, talking about Hamilton, I'm very, very pleased to see positive signs straight off the bat in the new season. It got a bit disappointing mid to late season for Hamilton, not just how the car was performing, but also just his motivation levels and how he was speaking to the press.
It was kind of unbearable.
We just don't want to hear that kind of language from our champion where he's like, I'm useless. And we're like, stop, Lewis, we don't want to hear this from you.
It was just seven-time champion.
Useless.
Right.
There's nothing left for the rest of us if that's the case.
I mean, seven-time champion. He can't be using language like that. And it was
absolutely not.
It was pretty depressing just watching that last season. It was
100%. So I'm going to blame this all on the strategists again, coming back to our theme. Also, Rob very kindly shared his masterclass subscription with me recently. So I watched the Hamilton one, and literally he's talking about mindset.
Yeah.
And he's like, never giving up, and you just always have to believe. And I was like, fast forward a few years, Hamilton, you're going to be telling the press you're useless. He's done a full masterclass.
He should have watched his own
multiple episodes talking about his process. And then he's like,
he should have watched his own masterclass, honestly.
So yeah, he's got a new race engineer. So it's all looking upwards.
Yeah. As a Brit, I should be supporting Hamilton. However, I'm a Fernando Alonso fan, and them two haven't exactly had the most friendliest of careers. I think they're okay now, but yeah, obviously the time when they were at McLaren back in 2007, 2008. Yeah, tense times.
So what's the backstory for why you have a soft spot for Alonso?
So when I first started watching, he was like the new kid. It was like early 2000s. Joined Renault. Had an absolute sublime 2006 to 2005 season. As a kid, I got a t-shirt, but it was like a really large one. So it was like the Renault team shirt with like the buttons and all the sponsors all over the place. So yeah, that's really cool. Might wear it on a pod one of these days. But yeah, it was that, and he made driving cool in my eyes, being two-time champion still to this day. And yeah, I really fell in love with Fernando.
Fell in love with the guy.
uh,
Okay, who have we not talked about? Let's see.
so I've got sort of like some midfield teams in terms of like Audi. I've noted that Bortoleto, if we talk about Audi in general, Nico Hülkenberg didn't actually, I don't think he started the race. I think he was in the pits, so very early on. But yeah, Bortoleto, there's a point where around lap 40, 45 probably, we're looking at him overtaking Ocon in the Haas and Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. And there was some pretty good moves, to be honest. And he ended up scoring some points. So really good for Audi, who were Sauber last year. But yeah, Audi now. So yeah, that was Audi. And what else we got? Behrman had actually scored some points for Haas as well. I noticed actually on Behrman's helmet, he had a little ode to Australia with a little koala bear on his helmet. So that was
Bit of
fun.
branding.
Showing love to the locals because yeah, they need love. Don't they?
Impressive start for Lindblad.
Oh, very, very much so.
Very impressive.
Racing balls. Yeah. Someone has to score points. It wasn't going to be Liam Lawson. Lindblad, no, he had a cracking start, but yeah, he kind of he lost a few places, but that wasn't going to be happening. You got Max, who overtook him. I believe the Ferrari of Hamilton overtook him as well. Yeah. First race though, to score points on your debut race, can't ask for more, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
okay.
really about it, really, for what happened in the race that I can think of. I mean, Leclerc. Just a final thing, Leclerc, after he got the hard tires on, he was catching Russell. However, with 10 or 12 laps, or maybe 15 laps, newer tires, fresher tires, he wasn't gaining any more ground. He was about 15 seconds behind George for like a good 10, 15 laps. So there was something wrong there with definitely from the Ferrari team calls on the early potential pit stops, which I guess brings us to, I guess our final point, which would be, do we want a break from Ferrari strategists? So, Money, give me a break from Ferrari strategists. Yes or no?
I think the Ferrari strategists need a break.
Yeah.
They need a break. They need to go away. They need to recalibrate and come back with some winning strategies. That's what they need. Because it's been several seasons now that we're trying to get them to just hit the spot and
over a decade.
Just get it right.
Easily over a decade.
Just get it right, guys. Just get it right. You're the most prestigious team in Formula One. Everyone loves you. Universally, Ferrari is loved. It's why Hamilton moved to Ferrari.
They are one of the most well-backed teams.
Sometimes they say it's kind of like they're stuck in their ways and they're like, well, we're Ferrari, we know what we're doing kind of thing. We don't want Leclerc frustrated. We don't want Hamilton depressed, thinking he's useless. We want the best for these boys and we want Ferrari winning. We want the Ferrari on the podium where they belong.
Okay, so you are wanting a break from Ferrari strategists to get Ferrari back to where you see them as the dominant team.
The number one team.
Okay.
We want Ferrari winning constructors again. We want Ferrari just standing on podiums. And for that, we need a break from our Ferrari strategists.
Okay. I'm going to just say that I'm the complete opposite. I don't give me a break from the Ferrari strategists because it's chaos and I love it. I love
You're a chaos agent.
Yeah, I absolutely am when it comes to racing. And just the amount of talking points that come through, the amount of, how do I put this? The memes, I guess, that come out from Ferrari. Charles last season, some of his team radio messages were hilarious. I think everyone also just knows that Ferrari strategists are just, they're not very good. And it just makes for more interesting races. I don't hold the same view that I want Ferrari back on top. They couldn't deliver Fernando a World Drivers' Championship. And yeah, I've never forgiven him for that. So, I mean, the closest they had was that final race in 2012, I think it was. It was like 5 drivers could have won. Ended up being Sebastian Vettel's first World Drivers' Championship. But yeah, that was the last time Ferrari were really competitive, I want to say. But yeah, don't give me a break from him. So we are tied on this one.
Okay, we're in conflict on this one.
Yes.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our first episode of our Formula One edition of Give Me a Break.
We'll have a few more episodes coming out, all things Formula One.
Yeah, we will select which Grand Prix over the course of the season we want to review. Have dedicated episodes for those as well.
Yes.
So thanks for tuning in,
Yeah,
and
thank you
we'll catch
all.
you next time.